and Beijing TV was on the road again. It was Sunday morning, the sun was out, and we were heading to Bath Beach in St. John. And we heard that there was a nature sanctuary there, a hidden nature sanctuary, and we decided that we were going to take a tour of the place. So this is us as we traveled down the hill to Bath Beach in St. John, and we were going to look at the waterfall there. And as we traveled down these winding roads, we were in awe as to the beauty and majesty of the entire place, the entire landscape. It was really, really beautiful. And there were a number of coconut palms that lined the road. And at this point in time, we were coming down the hill. As I said, there were a number of coconut palms. In the distance there you can see a beach house, and there are a number of them in the area. And from here we headed in the direction of the car park. And as we drove, our cameraman took some shots of this uniquely beautiful place. Once Beijing TV arrived, we set out immediately to find the hidden nature sanctuary at Bath in St. John. And behind us, we saw a number of casuarina trees that have been bent out of shape from years of exposure to the wind. And as we journeyed on, and as I've said before, there are a number of beach houses in the area. And if my memory serves me correctly, there should be a bridge of some sorts coming up very, very, very soon. And at this point, we started to hear the flow of water, and we did indeed see the bridge. And as we looked out over the bridge, we saw a huge collection point for that flowing water, and in the distance we saw where the water would eventually flow right into the sea. We also took a look at the other side of the bridge. And at this point of time, it was our intention to follow the stream right up to the source as far as was humanly possible. And Beijing TV got off the bridge and came around, because in order to find the source of this water, we had to really get closer. And we got off the bridge and we came around, and in this water we learned that there are crayfish, there are fish of all types, there's some crabs, and we saw some spiders along the way. So our aim from this point on was to follow the water upstream. And I thought it was really beautiful, really breathtaking, and it was different from our last outing because to my mind there were larger pools of water, and the water seemed to be flowing at a faster rate. And at this stage, our cameraman followed the natural flow of water as it was flowing downstream, and we came across a number of what I call mini waterfalls, but we were really looking for something much larger. But we did see a number of, as I say, what I refer to as mini waterfalls. And I tell you, if you are ever stressed out and you need to relax, this is the place to be. This has so many different medicinal benefits. Just to hear the water running, and to smell the salt here, or to hear the birds chirping, it brings you back in touch with nature, and you forget all about the city life and so on. And as I said before, there were a number of large pools formed where the water dropped off, and this was in stark contrast to our last outing. And this seemed to be a feature of this particular hidden nature sanctuary. At this stage, though, things started to get a little treacherous. The rocks were not smooth, and the rocks were very slippery, and I had to be extra careful. Despite the danger, Bajan TV pressed on because we were intent on finding the source of this stream, of this flow of water. And in the area, just to tell you a bit about the vegetation, there are a number of grape trees. There are grape trees all around us. Even in the water, you see the dry grape leaves. And there are also some almond trees as well. But this particular path was extremely treacherous. The rocks were green with moss and slippery, and there were a lot of trees, broken branches in your path, probably falling as a result of Hurricane Thomas. And here I tried to navigate as best as I could along one of those slippery rocks I told you about. I remember that we are trying to find at this stage the source of this flow of water, and as I said, there are numerous mini waterfalls that we came across while we were on our trek up. And at this stage, Bajan TV decided to stop for a little while, to stop walking, and just to take a rest, because at this point we were getting tired and we just needed to take a breather. But our cameras were still rolling, and we were just following the natural flow of water. And as I said, there were a number of branches that were in our path, and I believe a number of these could have fallen down when Hurricane Thomas passed last year. And as I said before, anytime that you are stressed out, sick, just come down here and take a seat on one of these rocks and absorb nature. And at this stage, we also noticed that there were a number of different types of lilies that lined the stream of water. At this stage, we continued on hoping to find that waterfall that we had heard so much about. And this place at Bath in St. John is really awesome. And if you've never been down here, please come on down. You will not regret it. So we continue on, and we were in for a surprise out of this world. Right before us was this waterfall, maybe 20-25 feet in the air, and there was a large pool of water underneath. And I tell you, this was the moment of our journey. These are things that you see in Dominica and in Jamaica, but certainly not in Barbados. So I was pleasantly surprised at the sight. Oh, this was the moment of the journey. Very, very beautiful indeed. Our own waterfall. And Bajan TV went in for a close-up. Up close and personal. And it was really, really beautiful. And Bajan TV found these rocks here particularly interesting because there were a number of tracks cutting right through them. And this was evidence that sometime in the not too distant past, water flowed over these rocks. And there you can see those tracks that I was telling you all about. And as I said, evidence that water at some time in the past flowed over these rocks. At this stage, Bajan TV had to take a detour because well, the hill we wanted to climb to follow that stream of water was too high and too dangerous, so we came out on the track just above where we were. And this track is a road that is used by people in the nearby village when they want to get to Bath Beach. But as we walked up, we saw some evidence that vehicles use this track to get to the beach as well. At this stage, our Bajan TV team, we were tired, but we pressed on. What made our trek even more arduous was the wet condition of the path. But as we continued on up this hill, we took in some of the vegetation, and again, it's really a beautiful place to be, natural. And again, as I said, anytime that you are stressed out and you need to relax, this is the place you should be. It was at this stage that Bajan TV squeezed through a very, very narrow track that was probably not used in years. Remember that we were in search of the source of this flow of water, and we wanted to follow the flow of water upstream. And as we came out of the very narrow pathway, we saw this a bridge, or what is left of a bridge. It was clearly not in any state for us to walk across. at this stage, the Bajan TV team decided, because of the thickness of the vegetation and the dangerous path, not to continue upward to find the source of this stream. While contemplating our next move, we decided to take to the hills because we wanted to go to the top of this hill here and to take some footage of Bath Beach from the top. But this was a very steep hill, and I almost fell, so we had to be very careful. Even though we had to abandon our plans of following the stream because we feared for the safety of our crew, there was still a lot to see down here, and we took to the hills because we wanted to see Bath Beach from the top. But as I said, it was extremely dangerous. The terrain was rough, and at one point in time I thought I was going to go up there over those rocks, but I decided against that, and we decided to walk around instead. And here we're just looking down at the bridge we saw earlier, and I just said, this place is really beautiful. It is breathtaking. It's natural. And Bajan TV journeyed on, and as I said before, this part of the journey was extremely dangerous. There were a lot of branches in our path. The rocks were sharp and they were loose. But it was our intention to reach the top of the hill because, as I said, we wanted to get some footage of Bath Beach from the top. Here we have this tree, this long roots, and again we're going to take a look down, and you see probably the bridge there in the distance. So we came up a good way, you know, and as I said, it was very dangerous. The mud and the rocks were loose, and it was only by God's grace that we reached the top. And you know, we believe that it is only in South America that we can find such a place, but I'm telling you, it is right here in Barbados. And as I told you, instead of going directly up, we walked around hoping to find a way up this steep cliff that was not as dangerous as climbing directly over the rocks. And here we can see a root of a tree. Most likely it fell when Hurricane Thomas passed. So we made our way up this up the side of the cliff, as I said, hoping to find a path to the top that was less treacherous than the one we'd passed a couple feet below. we finally saw some light at the end of the tunnel, and we were on our way to the top. Again, there were a lot of branches in our path, and it's clear that no one has been in this area for some time now. But we continued on. And we finally saw some light at the end of the tunnel, and we were finally making it to the top of the cliff. We were tired, our feet were sore. It was a dangerous path so far, but we were intent on completing our journey.
I kept on going. Going. We finally made it top.
And as we walked up the hill, our cameraman took a shot of where we came, and then we continued up the hill, wondering what to expect. And like down below, up here was covered with grape trees, and our intention was just to find a place where we could take some nice footage of Bath Beach. This was just down below. And we came across this path, but it was clear that it had not been used in a very long time, and the grape trees that we were seeing, we were no longer seeing. But as I said, we tried to make our way to the edge of the cliff because we wanted to get some nice footage of Bath Beach. And if you can look there, you can see the sea out there in the distance. But this was not the best place, so we had to move because there were some grape trees blocking us. And I keep saying it over and over, Barbados is a beautiful place, and people need to come out more and to do some exploring. So we continue on to find that vantage point where we can take some good footage below. And as I said, it is evident here that no one has been in this area for a long time, probably 5-10 years. So we came to the edge of a cliff at this point, and things were looking up for us because we were finally able to get an open area where we could take in some of the Atlantic Ocean. And it was really beautiful up here. Down below you see Bath Beach. Up there you see that is going in a southeasterly direction, and right now just looking at the Atlantic Ocean. Here is in a northeasterly direction, but it's really beautiful up here. So even though we didn't find that the source of that stream of water, Bajan TV was content on this because this was really beautiful. We were way up, and once we got the footage we needed, Bajan TV started to descend down the slippery slope, and honestly at this stage we were lost. We didn't know how to get back to civilization. We didn't want to go back down the hill we came, so we took another route, hoping that we would see some evidence that we were on a path to somewhere familiar. And again, the terrain was rocky and dangerous, and we had to be very careful. There was little evidence that there was much animal life in the area. We saw some few spiders, crabs, and some termite nests. We heard some birds in the tree, but that was as much as we saw and heard. So we continued hoping and praying that we were on the right path. As I said, the terrain is extremely rocky. There are a lot of pieces of dry wood in your path, and the rocks underneath are loose. So you have to be very careful when you're walking down. You have to hold on to branches, hold on to trees, so you won't slip and fall. But I thoroughly enjoy the experience, and I want to call on all Barbadians to get out. We have a small island, but it is rich in nature, rich in hidden nature sanctuaries. So come down to Bath Beach and visit. This has to be one of the best spots in Barbados. So at this point, we heard some voices in the distance, and we were sure that we were on the right path. But the trek continued to be treacherous because we were going downhill, and it's a very steep hill. Remember that we were at the top of the hill, and we heard voices, and we knew very well that we were on our path to civilization.
Policia! Robot. Civilization.